Hi, I'm Alicia Welcher, host of our FOF 160th Anniversary Sew-Along, brought to you by FOF and Classic Sewing Magazine. In this video, we are going to look at the projector in sewing mode and see how it will help us keep our side-to-side stitches straight. I use this feature to stitch the ribbon stitches that are just above the fancy band on the dress. And so in here, I'm going to show you how to stitch those ribbon stitches out, as well as how to use this grid to try and keep you straight. All right, so our grid and our projector. I've already turned my projector on. There's a button right here that turns your projector on and off. So I've already turned mine on. You can see it here on my fabric. There are several components to this projection. One is the grid. That's very important for what we're doing. A second is that there is a red line coming straight out from my needle. There's also a blue line over to this side that is at a 45-degree angle from my needle. And my stitch preview is also on, so I can see the stitch on my fabric, exactly how it will stitch out. So to start this, I'm just going to place my drawn line on my fabric right underneath the red line that's in front of my needles, and I'm going to start. And I'm going to use my start-stop button to do this. Okay, now as you stitch here, the important part is you're going to do your best to keep this drawn line parallel with this grid. It's very important. That's how you keep yourself straight, is to keep this drawn line parallel with that grid. Okay, now for my ribbon stitches, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place my ribbon right in front of my needle at a 45-degree angle, which is why this blue line that's at a 45-degree angle over on this side is important. Okay, now you can turn any of these lines on and off at any point in time, so you don't need them all. So whenever you don't need them, don't use them. You know, if you only want a needle line in front of you only want your line in front of the needle, you can do that. And your lines can also be moved, like the grid sides can change, your angles can change, the position of the line can change, like this line that's here, the red one, could go over to the side if you wanted it to be at the edge of your fabric. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. But right now I'm just using this angled line to position my ribbon. Okay, and like I said, as I sew, I'm doing my best to keep this line parallel with my grid lines. I'm also going to start paying attention to how much distance there is between this red line and my drawn line, because each time the machine stops over on this side, I'm going to want it to be positioned about right there. Okay, now for our ribbon stitches, when the machine stops, we're going to flip our ribbon. So we're flipping it over back here and pulling it to the other side. Now don't pull it hard. You don't want to distort what's up here, or you'll have a stitch that you can't get to lie flat. You just want to pull it over right in front of your needle. Okay, and this should be at about a 45-degree angle too. So remember how I said I can move that red line? So if I want to, I can take that line and I can move it 45 degrees so that I can use it in front of my foot to put my ribbon over to the side. Okay, and then we can start again. Okay, and remember, you're using that grid. Always use the grid. Now, when we stop on this side, we're going to flip our ribbon over to this side. And we're just going to start again. Okay, and you just keep doing that all the way down. So you're just paying attention to where your lines are, and you're paying attention to the fact that your drawn line stays even with that grid. You can use your 45-degree angle pieces to get your ribbon set exactly like you need it. Now, is that hugely important that that be at 45 degrees? No, but it is going to be prettier. So anyways, I hope that you can see how useful this grid feature can be. Not only for stitches like this that are much more complex and go left to right, your fabric goes left to right, but also for just about any stitch on the machine. I love features like this that make my sewing life easier.